You're probably losing jobs that you should be winning, and it probably has nothing to do with your price or your competition or the economy. It's your mouth. Yep, I said it. It is your mouth. And most of us, we talk our prospects straight out of the sale, right? We bore them with things that are very unimportant to them, things that they don't care about. And today, I am going to be handing you the simple, proven framework that flips that around so you can actually close more jobs, raise your average ticket price, and finally stop feeling like you need to beg people to say yes. So just stick around with me for the next 12 minutes. And I promise you, by the end, you're going to know exactly how to let your customers talk themselves right into hiring you. So I want to paint a little picture for you. Now, you've probably been here. You roll up to a nice house, say like a $600,000 house for a house wash estimate, right? And you've got the perfect pitch. You know your chemical ratios. You know the GPM of your machine, the PSI. You've got this special shooter tip that goes really high, and you've got a custom drilled out chemical injector that's going to give you a hotter mix, and you're ready to flex all of that knowledge, all of that experience. But then 10 minutes after you send the estimate, you're sitting there in the truck staring at a very polite text that says, we're going to think about it. Sound familiar? I bet it does. Now, I just read a study recently that found that the top performing sales reps talk less than 40% of the time. Average reps, they ramble for like 60% of the time. So what does this mean, right? Well, it means that the more you explain, the less they believe. So how do we fix it? Well, the triple S strategy: silence, story, solution. Now, you might be asking yourself, why should I listen to this guy? And that's a fair question. I started my career as an outside sales rep for a Fortune 50 company, worked my way through multiple roles over 2 decades. And along the way, I built and sold several small businesses, and I still have a few today. Most recently, I co-founded Quote IQ, which has become the fastest growing CRM in the home service space. And we built it for only one reason, and that is to help business owners land more jobs and actually keep those customers. Now, this is what I've done for 20 years. I am not guessing. I'm giving you what has worked for me. And if you want to get in on the Quote IQ Business Booster giveaway, we are giving away $500 every single month. All you got to do is comment Quote IQ down below, and we'll announce the winner at the end of the month. Okay, so let's talk about closing more jobs. Now, step 1 is very easy, and it is pure silence. When you greet a prospect, shut up after you say, how can I help you? Let them unpack all of their problems in their own words. And you're doing 2 things here. You're mining for pain points and also earning micro trust, because you're the first contractor who didn't bulldoze them with a bunch of bullshit that they don't care about, they didn't ask about, and they never wanted to learn. And I learned this the hard way. Early on in my sales career, I would just rattle off technical specs and use case studies, and I would watch clients' eyes just glaze over like a Krispy Kreme conveyor belt, right? And I was giving them way too much information, stuff they didn't need, care about, or like I said, ever want to hear again. They just needed to know how we were going to solve their problem, right? How our product fixed their issue. They just wanted to make sure that we knew what we were doing. And when I finally forced myself to stay quiet, my average close rate jumped from 42% to 71%. And that's not luck. That's not skill. That is just shutting your mouth and listening. And trust me, it is hard. And you're going to feel the urge to just fill that silence, right? Because it's awkward and it's probably going to feel a little bit uncomfortable, but I need you to fight it, okay? Count to 3 Mississippi a couple times in your head if you have to. The client, I promise you, they're going to keep talking. And every sentence is a buying signal that you can use later. Okay, so you've shut your mouth, you've listened, and now they have spilled all of their frustrations, all of their pain points: mildew on the siding, the HOA breathing down their neck, Google reviews from other companies worrying them, the last guy did a terrible job. And you're gathering a bunch of great information, right? So then you move on to the story. But it's not your story, because they don't care about you. They care about the other story, which is their story. So now you need to think back, reflect back on what they told you, what those issues were, those pain points. So you're basically just repeating back to them what they already told you. So not only do they feel heard and understood, but they know that you listened and you care, okay? So here's an example of how I would deal with this, right? They'd mentioned the HOA, a couple other things, right? Okay, so the HOA can be a total pain in the butt. They give you 10 days to get it all cleaned up, right? Or they're gonna keep finding you. Well, You also have got a graduation party for your daughter coming up and you want to get that done before then. Is that right? And then you're just going to watch them nod their head and agree with you, right? And that nodding is commitment. Now, I'm not like one of those jackasses that you see on YouTube that try to pontificate about theory and use big words, but neurolinguistic research shows that people who agree verbally or physically, they are 3 times or 67% more likely to buy from your business, right? So you have just racked up agreement number one by just repeating what they said and asking them for confirmation. And then if you can add in just a little bit of social proof, maybe you've done a house in their neighborhood. Even if it's not in their neighborhood, you can still talk about another one of your customers that was in a similar situation, right? Something like, yeah, we cleaned Miss Thompson's house 2 streets over last Thursday. She had the same issue, same HOA letter, same mildew problem. We got their house looking great. And now she's not getting any fines. So you have already listened to what they have said. You have addressed their issues. You've given them a little bit of social proof. And then that's also confidence that you know what you're doing, right? And this is when you can talk about the solution that your company can offer them. So keep it short, keep it sweet, and keep it to the point. Benefit first, right? You can say something like, we use a low pressure process that's going to remove all the mold, mildew, and other gunk that the HOA is, threatening you about. We're going to take care of everything. You don't have to worry about a thing. The best part, the HOA is going to be off your back as soon as we're done. And then, do you know what you do? You shut up. You let them process, and they might ask about price, which is perfect. Present it confidently and do it only once, and then silence. Don't fall into the trap of dropping your price or offering a discount simply because you're nervous.
And I go, oh, I killed my sale. That's when I blow it.
Because the silence is awkward. Just hold tight and wait.
Let me tell you why I suck as a salesman.
And I know the objection part scares a lot of people. In fact, it's probably one of the things that we worry about most, is because customers are always going to have questions. They're always going to have objections. But this is what I think. Every objection is just an unanswered question, right? So just say, hey, can you tell me a little bit more, right? Tell me more about your concerns. And the moment they voice it, then, like we talked about before, you repeat it, problem solve briefly, and then pause. Most of the time, they're just going to talk themselves into the job. So this is a real world example, right? The customer says, hey, that seems a little bit expensive, right? I'm sure you've heard that. And so what I like to say is like, yeah, I understand, budget's important. Besides price, is there anything else holding you back from just getting on the schedule? And typically they just say, no, I just didn't know if it was a fair price or not. Or, I've got cheaper quotes from other guys. And then you can say something like, hey, yeah, I totally understand that. We probably aren't going to be the cheapest out there, but we've got however many reviews you've got. We've got like over 400 reviews. We've been in business for 20 years, licensed, insured, and we guarantee our work. Then again, silence, just wait a few seconds. And then probably what you're going to hear is, all right, let's get on the schedule. Let's do it. Let's move forward, whatever they say. Right. But this does work about every single time, but you have to, and it's a craft that you have to hone. So I know that that's probably a lot of information, but I highly encourage you just to try it, right? And you might be saying to yourself, Mike, so when do we actually talk? All you did was tell us to shut up. Well, there are 3 moments when you should actually talk, right? Number 1 is just to ask open-ended questions. Number 2, summarize or repeat their story back to them. And number 3 is just to tell them the solution and then ask for the sale, right? And I really think that any other talking is just emotional leakage, and it's going to ruin your chance to close the deal. So let's make this actionable. Okay. In the last video, I said that I wanted you guys to increase every single quote that you gave out by $50, even if it made you feel uncomfortable, just to show you that you're probably undervaluing yourself. So the challenge for this video is, for the next 10 quotes that you give, I want you to take out your phone and I want you to record yourself on your phone's voice memo, or just turn on the camera, push record, and just record, right? And yeah, it's awkward. You don't have to let them know you're doing it, but do it anyway, okay? And then after each call, run a stopwatch on total talk time versus customer talk. The goal is customer 60%, you 40% or less. Then you listen and you make adjustments, right? And I guarantee you're going to feel the difference in your close rate before you even check the numbers. And if you want a great system to kind of, understand all your metrics, Quote IQ has that for you. But I also want you to remember that premium clients, they don't need convincing, okay? They only need clarity. So if they're confused, they typically don't buy. And if they feel rushed, they don't buy. So let them talk. let them think, then let them buy. Okay, so that is it for this video. Now, if this one hit home, let me know in the comments what you think. And I really do appreciate you guys watching. Now I want you to do me a favor and yourself a favor. Shut your mouth and listen. Okay, thanks for watching, guys.